November last year, I thought, let me just reach out to Thrasio again with these new figures. So I just sent Ken an email and said, hey, do you want to have a look? And he said, sure, had a look. And he went, yep. I think we sorted it out. Honestly, I can't tell you, it was so quick and so easy. Within a week, I'd given them my figures. They were really happy with them. There wasn't very much to do. And they went, sure, here's an offer.
Hey everybody, I am super excited to bring you an interview today with the one and only Debbie Thompson. She is an Inner Circle member and has been for a while. She has had an incredible journey with her Amazon brands that has led to an exit, as you may have just heard, and now she is doing it again. She started off with different courses, masterminds, products that were successful, products that weren't successful, and there has been a prevailing theme of finding a group, finding a niche, finding a tribe, and then leaning on each other. And she has been an extraordinary sounding board for other members, someone with experience and someone that has provided so much help for others in the group. I am super excited to have her interview here for you so you can learn more about her journey. So Debbie, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. And please don't hold back, because I know that, I don't want you to, just because we started recording, I know that you dropped so much gold, you don't even know.
So for those of you who are watching the replay, I was just saying to Brandon, I really don't know why I'm here. There are so many more amazingly talented people. And I'm not saying that I genuinely feel that. But then I reflected and I thought, actually, there are lots of people who look at all these amazingly young techie people who just get stuff and talk stuff. And they're like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Well, you are good enough, because, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I was just saying to Brandon I'm techie. I'm 53. I miss the digital age completely. And for those Brits there's a TV program called IT Proud, and Jen's the most amazing character, and she breaks the internet. And that's what I do. I break the internet. My husband and my children, sometimes they shake their head and they go, Mum, we have absolutely no idea how you do this business. You can hardly turn a computer on. And actually that's okay. And, initially I used to go, oh, I can't do this. I need to do these things. And there's so much help you can get. You don't need to do everything. And if you do need to do something, you can outsource it. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed and everybody else is better than you, you're in good company. I'm sure if we surveyed, half the people, they'd all feel a bit like that, a little bit overwhelmed. And so that's where I started my journey.
How long ago was that?
So that was 5 years ago. So and just to give
what was it that you initially saw, heard, read? Yeah. What ad was it? Did you get targeted by someone's funnel, or did you have a friend? What was it?
Well, I didn't get targeted by anyone's funnel because I wasn't really on the internet, because remember, I'm not a digital nomad. What happened was I'll go back 2 seconds. I started life as an accountant in London with Deloitte, and my husband was a management consultant with Pricewaterhouse. Kind of big salaries, living the dream, or were we? You've got these big. Everybody works so hard to get these jobs, and then you find you are earning a lot of money, but geez, you have no time, and you are a slave to these companies. So we have 3 children in London, and one day I woke up and went, "What the hell are we doing?" So we emigrated to the Gold Coast. My brother was here. And it was a big leap of faith, and that was 15 years ago. We didn't have jobs. Our friends all thought we were mad, but we knew, I suppose back then, we wanted something different. Didn't really know what it was. So we came over here, and I went back to work part-time. I was mainly a mum for a while, but then we decided to become entrepreneurs. And just before the GFC, we bought a restaurant and a couple of other things, and we lost everything. So at the age of 40, we were kind of down to nothing. And I knew then that I needed something different. So I'd been, I was looking. I was definitely open. That was the thing. I was definitely open. And I think I went to some talk and they were doing buying and selling websites. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a really good idea. I can do that. So I went on the course, spent a lot of money. I'm not good enough for that kind of stuff. But what happened, and this is all part of the journey, I spent money on that. One of the things was becoming an Amazon affiliate, having a website selling Amazon stuff. And I'm like, oh, I like this Amazon stuff. And then from there, I saw ASM course. So I could have been discouraged because I'd spent, I think, 15,000 on that course and literally made nothing at all.
15,000.
15,000. I mean, I was that desperate. I wanted to make a change. So I went on the ASM course with a friend because I couldn't actually afford it together. So we went on it together. I actually managed to have a really good product, but she didn't. And she fell out of it. And I managed to. I'm a really diligent student. I work really, really hard. So I followed ASM to the letter, and I started in a niche that was really friendly. It was in the arts and crafts. And no hijacking, no bad people, no nothing. So it was a really lovely, smooth introduction to Amazon. And I needed that because I think if my first product had been a failure, it would have been very, very challenging. And I'm a really resilient person. Like my motto is fail and fail fast, but fail, get out there and make it happen. But I was working, I was only doing this part-time. I really didn't think it was, you kind of land on these things, not thinking it's going to take over. But I had a dream, and my big dream was to always move down to the beach, be within walking distance of the beach. And, holidays, the other big thing for me is adventure and seeing the world. I'm from South Africa as well. So, and so those are the things that motivated me. But I started with, this was 2016, I think with $10,000. And it grew organically, very, very slowly because I was doing it part-time. And then I decided, I didn't have a mentor at this point. I'd just done the course. And then I joined a mastermind group, which was the best money I ever spent. Because at the time I didn't think I needed it, but you do need it. You absolutely do. You only know what you know. And sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. And, whatever those phases are. And I joined this group, and there were a number of things, actually, the massive benefits is number one is doing this journey with other people, as Sarah Elizabeth said with her mentor group. When you can download to other people and they really get you, you can tell your friends and family, but can you just bear with me 1 second? But something's beeping, just 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I will say that I literally made a post about this today, but we'll pause here real quick. Yeah,
it was driving me nuts.
Yeah, no worries. I heard it, but I literally made a post about this today because I had a memory pop up from 4 years ago. I was in New York, and it was the first time I rented an Airbnb that was big enough for maybe 10 of us in New York City. We were there for a conference, and I had been, I'd been in a mastermind for maybe 6 months that I co-founded at the time for only $1 million and up sellers called $1 Million Sellers, MDS. And we had less than 100 members at the time. And maybe a third of us were going to New York for this conference. And it was the first time that many of us got together and really met up and had some events together. And that mastermind I can attribute to being, for most of our success, because when you do have people to lean on, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. And there's always people that are behind you and people that are in front of you that have experienced what you're experiencing that can help you to get through these issues. Because as we were talking about, even before we started recording, there will be issues, and facing them alone can be daunting or near impossible.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear more about like this mastermind and how it attributed to your success. Absolutely.
Well, so that mastermind, I learned a lot of stuff from them, but I think it also depends on your, whoever's in the mastermind and what their thinking was. And I think back then it was all about get things out very, very quickly. Don't bundle, don't make too many changes, just get them out. So I followed that advice and I set up a brand, and I got 2 years worth of sales, but ultimately it didn't work. So I kind of went, no, I'm not going to do that. But they did encourage me to go into the UK and Germany, which I did. And that was brilliant because I learned, and I think in the end, the UK and Germany was about 30% of my sales. So that's fairly significant.
And when you exit, 30% of your sales it's a large amount if you get a multiple on that. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, there's nothing that you don't learn from, right? And then I came back, launched a couple of products that just didn't work. And I really lost my mojo. And I was just talking to a few people, and I'd kind of fallen out of the group. I'd gone back and I'd done teaching. I became a maths teacher for 7 years, which was brilliant. And I just didn't have the time. And one day I went, I'm either going to give this up or I'm actually going to put some more effort in. So I think that was when Leonard told me about you. And I came to see you with no mojo, actually. And it was more analysis paralysis with products, because I'd had, the first 5 had been successful and then the next 5 had failed. And you kind of think, is this me? Am I doing something wrong? Is the market saturated? And I went to China with my husband. What we decided to do was we were going to set up a new brand, going to electronic kind of kids' toys. And I came back and I remember speaking to you and you go, you said the Chinese can be vicious. And I'd come from a lovely arts and crafts niche, wasn't ready for that fight. And so decided, not to do that. But anyway, I did launch one product. And just going back for those of you, just some of my failures. And I hope, is this okay? Just kind of going back?
Yeah, absolutely. This is amazing. Please don't let me stop you.
Oh, okay. So when I first started, one of the things you did is you had giveaways, and you had to make sure that you ticked a box so that the 99 or whatever % off was not showing on Amazon. Well, I did that once, and I woke up one morning to go, oh my God, look at all my sales, to go, oh my God, I'm out of stock, to, oh my God, I sold them all for 99% off. Now, when you wake up in Australia to America, it's kind of 6 or 7 hours later. And so the stock has pretty much been sent out. And the number of times I've bawled my eyes out to Amazon to try and cancel some of those. So I think the first time I lost, and remember, I only had like 1,000 in stock and I lost 700 of them. And I thought that was the end of my world.
Wow. Yeah. That's a hard knock to take right there. A lot of times it's almost, depending on the landed cost of the goods, and then you have to wait for more, and you're going to stock out now when you weren't planning on it. Like this, it can be potentially devastating. That's a terrible thing. Yeah,
that was terrible. And I thought I'd learned from it. So from then onwards, I think about 6 months later, we did another, because this is when you used to do the big discounts without doing the rebates. And I did another one, and I went, okay, we're not going to put it up there. We're going to do one per person, and we're going to limit it to so many in the back end in Amazon. And there was a glitch, and all of them went to get another 1,000. And I phoned them up. I was in tears again. And one guy had ordered 150 of them. So I got in touch with him, and I basically said, this is, you can't sell these. This is branded, I'll buy them back from you for $1. So he sold them all back to me for $1. And at least I had stock, right? But I'd lost shed loads of money. It had gone viral on something. So then the next launch,
one of the deal sites, I'm sure.
One of the deal sites. So then the next launch, I go, okay, we're going to just put in one of these fake orders. And so this will never happen again. And my VA put the order through, but instead of not actually making it happen, she sent it to her father's house. She lives in the Philippines, but her mother lives in New York State somewhere. And he rings up and goes, what the hell am I doing with thousands of these products? So at least we hadn't lost the stock, but it had been sent out, so we had to get it back in. Anyway, I phoned Amazon, told them the story, and they gave me all their fees back, which was brilliant. They're getting the fees out. So it's not like I haven't done stupid stuff and had stuff done to me. And then in the honeymoon period of my best-selling product, it was a 2-pack. But there's so much going on when you launch a new product. I did not know that you needed to spell out to Amazon, this is a 2-pack, do not separate.
I remember when that happened. We were talking in office hours and you told me that they had split them up.
Yeah. And it was 2 boxes together in cellophane with the ASIN on the outside, like seriously. Anyway,
but you didn't put do not break down or sell as a set, or you didn't put the warning on. So
you need 2 stickers, a 2-pack, and then another one saying this is a set, do not separate. So very early on, I realized, because the people who were reviewing it said I only got one, and I'm like, what? Anyway, had to remove everything, take it back to the 3PL, have them redone. You can imagine in America the cost of that, send them back in. And so that was a honeymoon period gone. But, despite that, and who knows why, it did phenomenally well. And then, later on, I think was it about a year later, I got caught in that algorithm thing where everything got stuck at position 30, every single keyword for 3 months. And, despite, speaking to Amazon every other day, and then eventually it worked itself out. Who knows what it was, but these things happen, and don't worry if they do, because it's inevitable. And having people because I've got an amazing mastermind group, and having people just to be able to share the wins with, share the losses with, just sharing the whinging. I was just talking to Sarah about stock and getting samples from China where you actually want to kill someone, and but nobody understands it except people who've been through this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really phone up your mom and talk to her about this issue, or even a friend that works a corporate job. They just don't get the dynamic of Amazon and selling, and new sellers alike. And so we, with the mini masterminds we're doing. So lots of knocks along the way, lots of products that didn't work. So you 2 questions on this because of where you're at in your journey.
Yeah.
What was it about this product that ended up being a success, even with them breaking it apart on you? I remember that. And that was getting close to Q4. Like, I think it was like you had an issue there where it was like you needed to get it back in together pretty quickly. But what was it about that product that made you select it versus the 5 in a row that had failed on you?
So the 5 in a row before that was a kind of a kids travel brand. And, that's what I really wanted to do. But after the 5th failed product, I think it was a car seat travel bag, and the cost of material had gone up. It wasn't differentiated enough. I just went, I'm going to get out. I need a new niche. So I created a new brand, and that's when I went. I have a son who was, I think, 16 at the time, and just all the products he was doing, getting kids out and about, outside, electronic type fun boys games. But when I went to China and I found all these, because we were looking at drones, and I thought I'm going to go up and I'm going to spend more money, and we were looking at drones and RC cars that drive up walls, and I remember talking to you, and I remember saying you've got to be careful, because you'll go, not that it's a problem, but you're up against the Chinese and they're vicious, and I'd only ever spent $3 or $4 on a product, and now these were $8 to $12. And buying 2,000 of those, it's a big dent. And maybe I should have done it. And actually, along the way, there are 3 or 4 products in the last 2 years in this brand which I should have done, absolutely should have done. And I kick myself every day, and I look at the sales that these really crappy Chinese sellers are doing. But it's too late, because, well, there were 2 things was too late. Number one was we were dealing with a factory, and we could have got the patent on it. And at the time it was $2,000. I'm like, oh no, I should have done it.
Oh yeah. Patents are a great way. If you can build a moat in a very competitive space, that's one reason to definitely jump into it. And I don't want to discourage anyone watching from jumping into some of these very competitive spaces. As a matter of fact, I just did a video about this, but there's a list of like 200,000 sellers, most of which are Chinese, that have been cheating, and Amazon's known they've been cheating, but Amazon hasn't done anything about them because the FDA never forced them to, or the FTC, I'm sorry, the FTC never forced them to. Now the FTC is forcing them to take action against these known cheaters because now Amazon will be liable because it's now known that Amazon knows about them, but they can't suspend 200,000 people overnight.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they have a schedule between now and September. Now, what's interesting, so a lot of them are getting suspended every single day from now until September. Now, these are headphone manufacturers. These are wireless accessory people. These are all the like electronics and fast moving categories that we normally recommend you stay away from because it's hard to keep up with the reviews that they're cheating on. It's hard to, you have to know how to counter their attacks and how to get back up and running quickly if they attack you and bring you down. You have to know how they're going to do it. And so these are more advanced things. So if you become a better seller, maybe start with something smaller and become better, then you can get into it. But maybe this is going to open up some of those categories, which is an interesting thing.
Yeah. No, and a lot of these categories, and actually going back to just when you said why was it successful, this was a very Chinese dominated niche, not very differentiated, but I came up with a really great brand, really great boxing, and my listing just didn't look Chinglish. And I think that was it, actually, Brandon, because my product was, we went over to China, we met the factory, and my husband's an engineer, so we made a few minor tweaks to the product. But I think that was it. It just looked really classy.
Yeah. And so the differentiation there is obviously in the content, the branding, the appearance, and in the quality, because yours is going to be slightly better based on the changes you made, which really makes a big difference on that return and defect rate. And so your reviews are going to stay higher. Ultimately, you had the highest rated brand, the fastest moving, the most reliable, the best looking. All of those things matter so much. And you were able to knock it out of the park. Similarly, like you were talking about the wall climbing car, and it being dominated by a lot of these other sellers. The issue is at the time, it's like when it first comes out, is that something people are searching for specifically? So we always talk about what keywords are driving sales for a product. You're not going to be able to drive sales or compete on a keyword like RC car with with a car like that, right? But if things like wall climbing car, gravity car, or anything like that become keywords with any type of search volume that you can conquer and then build up to some of those generic keywords, then that's a more winning strategy. But I didn't know that you had the opportunity to get some patents or IP around some of these types of toys, because that's a great way to come into a market, build a moat, and then just own it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And so we're doing the same thing here, but not being able to get to China. So I have this husband who's an engineer who's joined me, only joined 4 months ago, which is brilliant. But unless you meet the engineers, like last time when he was there in the factory with the engineers, he drew some stuff, they came back over, they solved the problem straight away. You're dealing with salespeople, and honestly, everything that, no, can't do that. And you can eventually, but it's a 2-month process where you've knocked your head against the wall that many times. So I think not being able to get over...
That's absolutely brilliant and true. When you have an engineer speaking to an engineer, they're speaking the same language. When you have an engineer speaking to a salesperson, the salesperson isn't going to understand what's happening and always tell you it can't be done.
Exactly.
And then if you're not an engineer trying to get something done, you don't even know what you're saying half the time. So it's impossible, right?
Exactly.
That is absolutely what Anchor did to dominate the electronics industry, right? One of the first things they did was hire some of the best engineers in the industry. And people wonder why the Anchor products do so much better. The power banks were like their first major product. Their power banks were far more reliable than anybody else in the industry at the time, because what they did is they went and hired engineers that worked with and patented and created their own power bank technology. And that's why they were able to dominate the industry. They eventually bought the factories and had the supply chain. And on top of that, they were able to do, the brand building stuff that no one else was doing at the time, which was create a Twitter account and create a fan club and give discounts on new product launches and really scale their team in a way that no one else did. So your I know that you recently had an exit. We're going to get into that, and now the fact that your next chapter involves your husband and engineering, and it's phenomenal. I can't wait to hear the next part. So now you're in a spot where you fix the problem. Your keyword rank block fixes because maybe the category got fixed, the node, which we trace that to be the problem now for most people.
Yeah.
So sales recover, and all of a sudden you get people messaging you about wanting to buy your brand. Is that right?
Well, not quite. And so what happened was now was it Scott Dietz? Was he doing an exit course? Was he doing? So anyway,
yeah, Scott's phenomenal. Where he's we have content with him in the inner circle for
So he was doing the where he helps you with exit. So about 3 years ago, or maybe 2.5 years ago, I got in touch with Scott through our other mastermind group, and I went, okay, let me look at the business, because it was doing fairly well. And he came in with his a couple of consultants, and they went, yeah, we can look at this. And they put a really great presentation. They, looked at all the TTM. I'm an accountant by background, so all of this is quite natural to me anyway. But they put this brilliant thing together, and we had an agent, because back then the Thrasio was just starting. And so they put it out, and Thrasio was one of the first people who looked 2.5 years ago. And it was Ken, actually, and he did an audit, and he said, yep, look, this looks interesting, but you're too small. And so actually there was April 2019, that's right. And there was a couple of people from England. Anyway, they said, come back in 6 months. Anyway, during this time, a private investor in America was interested. And we were about to sign, actually, in February last year, just before COVID hit. And he was getting, these loans from America. And because suddenly all these loans stopped, because they had to basically feed all these unemployed people right around the world. So all these business loans stopped. So he suddenly went, I can't do this. And thank the Lord, serendipity, because what I got was a third of what I got when I exited, a month ago. So at the time, I'm like, oh, damn. But during COVID, my products, because everyone was stuck at home, just went crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I think, Brandon, at one point, I landed up as the number 200 in toys and games.
Wow, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. I couldn't keep in stock. That was my biggest issue. I just could not keep in stock. But it didn't last for that forever.
Yeah, because you can't anticipate that type of demand. And it was similar for us as well, because I think like 70 or 80% of our products are toys and games. And it was incredible. It was like another Q4 from March until June or July.
Yeah.
And it was just an incredible period of time for toys and games. Everyone was home. The parents wanted to keep the kids preoccupied. And so, it was impossible to anticipate that as well.
Yeah, no, really difficult. So, and then in I think November last year, I thought, let me just reach out to Thrasio again with these new figures. So I just sent Ken an email and said, hey, do you want to have a look? And he said, sure, had a look. And he went, yep, we'll sign, non-disclosure, whatever it was, to do some work. So I didn't really go and look at lots of different aggregators, because it was kind of early on, and I didn't really know. Anyway, Thrasio, I think we sorted it out. Honestly, I can't tell you, it was so quick and so easy. Within a week, I'd given them my figures. They were really happy with them. There wasn't very much to do, and they went, sure, here's an offer. And so I looked at it and I went, yeah, this is great. It was based, I can't obviously talk about it, but it was based on some now, some in a year time. And then, so it was also based on, because Amazon is uncertain, the brand wasn't massive with lots of products. Like, there were only 5 SKUs. It's not huge. And so I understood that. And so I've looked at how they've grown things. So if it grows the way that they are able to, I could get the same amount of money again. Was I happy with what I got? Yeah, absolutely. And that's what my lawyer said to me. you need to be happy with what you've got now because the other stuff might never come. That's icing on the cake. And also I just, I'd lost my mojo with the brand. I've got this new one that I'm setting up.
I love
and
it.
When you just want to get rid of it. There were a couple of things. It was like, I need to take some money off the table because Amazon is so uncertain. You see people close down in, everything's going perfectly. Then suddenly an algorithm glitch happens and you're just not there anymore. So I want to take some money off the table, reduce the risk. I also wanted to put this new brand. I'm a teacher as well, and it's around teaching and stuff. And it's what I feel really passionate about. So there were a number of reasons why I decided not to go and look for loads of aggregators. Also, I'm not really made that way, actually. When I find someone I like, I
love it.
Just
I like Ken a lot too. So what's phenomenal is Thrasio and has members in the inner circle, has some of their managers in the inner circle, and I work with them. And this isn't a commercial for Thrasio.
Yeah.
Ken is a phenomenal guy, and what's surprising is that he doesn't like toys that much. Because
that's interesting.
Ken will tell you, I don't know if Ken might watch this eventually, but he will tell you he is not a fan of toys because there are a lot of generic keywords. There's a lot of keywords that that are more difficult to get and get. I'm changing his mind on that though, and I'm really glad that you were able to exit the Thrasio because they are phenomenal. What they've done with your brand. So if people don't understand the deal and what you're explaining, I'll explain it real quickly. You got a deal where you got a check up front, and then you're going to get another check depending on the performance. And so that's a better way to get sometimes more if you trust who you're selling to grow the brand, like Thrasio is very well known to do. They take best sellers and grow them on average of over 50% or 40%, whatever it is, which is phenomenal. How do you take a bestseller and make it even a better seller, right? It's already the best. Like usually best is the most, and then they do it anyway. So they're absolutely killers when it comes to optimizing and running things through the ringer, and they have the resources to streamline economies of scale, lower their cost, and just keep things in stock, the capabilities that a solopreneur doesn't have, or a team and capabilities a solopreneur doesn't have. So great choice to go with them, especially with that type of deal, because I can tell you that a lot of the aggregators out there are not going to have that type of success. Their track record and what they've proven they can do, the team that they've built, I think they're at 800 or 900 employees already, which is incredible. One of the fastest companies, the fastest profitable company to $1 billion valuation in American history. That's not by accident, right? Like they are really good. So I'm glad that you sold to them. It's surprising to me because Ken is not a fan of toys. So maybe we're changing his mind there, but
and look, they were so good. They made my, honestly, because everyone says, oh, selling a business. And I was going, oh my God, selling a business. I cannot tell you how easy the process was. The people I met were just, and you meet every department, but they're so quick. It's like handover done. They didn't need very much from me as well. Now, the other thing that people might ask, and actually coming back to the success of Thrasio was actually a bit of an undoing as well, because they're so successful. When I sold the business on the day we were signing, this was back in February, March, the Australian Financial Investment Review Board stopped the deal. And it wasn't just me, it was because Thrasio had invested so much in Australian companies. So they were now being investigated by the investment board. So not my business, but just the sheer volume of,
phenomenal.
The government going, who is this Thrasio thing? So that was 8 weeks it was delayed by. But Thrasio were brilliant. They gave me some money for stock in between to keep going, whatever. And at that time, I was a bit nervous it wasn't going to happen. But they were amazing. Honestly, they were amazing. So even that had hiccups.
If anything is the theme for all of Amazon, for Amazon sellers to know, is that there will be hiccups.
Yeah.
And you have to roll with the punches. That's basically the entire theme.
Yes. The whole thing is just, resilience. Get a great team behind you, resilience, and don't beat yourself up. Self-flagellation doesn't work in this business. if you're not that good at keywords, like, without, Lauren and Christian's sheet, I would be screwed. I can't do that stuff. I don't understand it, but I like the percentage and what it throws out to me. Get people who are better than you. And that's the other thing is, people go, oh, I can only sell my brand when it's perfect. Well, actually, probably not, because they need to come in and go, no, your PPC is a bit crap. I can do this a lot better. Whereas if you're brilliant at PPC, where's the margin for them? So I think they came in, they looked at my PPC and went, well, we could do so much better. They looked at my Facebook, which was, pretty crap. And I think they just went straight away, we can, there's so much we can do here.
Yeah. And that's what's unique about what's happening in the industry as well with all the buyers, is that all of them have their own areas that they're very good at. Thrasio happens to be great at outside traffic optimization, like most of it, right? Bringing to other marketplaces. But some people want a brand that's already diversified because they want to lower their risk. Others want one that isn't, because their upside is to bring it to other markets, and they're good at bringing it direct to consumer or to wholesale or whatever it is. So, the fact that you found, a great deal right away with probably the best company out there is phenomenal. So that's awesome. So now you sell the brand. How long have you been working on the current brand? Do you have any products launched? Like, I want to hear about.
Oh, this is another story. Oh my God, if you need stories. So they were all ready to be sent out in February. We missed the boat. So we got on one in late March. This is suddenly when the costs are starting to go up. It gets over, and I've just started with Eddie. So we're going to a new location now, and I get seized by customs. So 8 weeks in customs, and 2 days ago, and again, I just so everyone's going, how's your Prime Day? I'm like, I have no sales, I have no income. Anyway, so to find out that I'd had some testing done, llama testing, which is to do with arts and crafts stuff. And I didn't realize at the time, but we had some stickers made up. The lady put it on the box, sent it to the testing company, forgot to put the stickers on the rest of the boxes.
Oh no!
So I had the testing done, cost me $1,500, but she didn't put the stickers on. So they all landed up in the States, and I phoned her and I said, "What the hell did you do?" And she said, "You never told me to put the stickers on the rest of the boxes." And you're like, "Oh my God, I want to kill someone."
You had one job, like literally, that's your job.
But you know what? The buck stops with me, because I had them inspected.
Yeah.
And I should have had on the inspection form. But you know what, as a solopreneur, whatever we're called, there's so much going on. One of the things should have been, make sure this sticker is on there. I missed it.
I absolutely.
The buck stops with me.
Debbie, I love that philosophy, because that's the philosophy I bring in life and in business, right? If you have an employee that screws up, it's not their fault. It's always your fault. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do the proper training, you didn't do the proper preparation, you didn't there's a reason ultimately. Like that's where that saying comes from, the buck stops with me. And everyone that, not everyone, obviously you don't, but not the vast majority of people are often saying, blaming other people. And so I think that there's a huge turnaround that you can make in your attitude and in business, and it brings you to another level of success when you walk into a situation where things went sideways and you say, how is this my fault?
Yeah.
And answer that question honestly, because ultimately it usually comes down to it. Now, Amazon has its reasons that things go sideways and things go up and down. And we were just talking about some of the challenges you've had. Yeah. But we're talking about, like, when you're running a business and you have employees and you have people that you hire, and that they do something wrong, 99 times out of 100, it's something that you ultimately did or didn't do that caused that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I can beat myself up. It's going to cost me money. It is what it is. I have a little plaque outside my house, and it just says, it is what it is. And when the kids complain, I'm like, go and have a look at the front door, guys. It is what it is. So, we need to take ownership and move on.
Absolutely love it. So here you are, you've taken your lumps, you've had your ups and downs, you've had a successful launch with a great product that's blown it away. You have a great exit. You're starting a new brand. And now even the new brand, as a veteran selling for 5 years, even the new brand is you're having some ups and downs that would discourage most people that are starting this business to walk away. Yeah, you missed the boat, costs go up, rerouting, inspections, going poorly, taking an extra 8 weeks. Let me ask you the most important part of all of this. Have you been able to preserve your honeymoon this entire time, though?
I have. I keep pushing the dates out. So the dogs are there. And I think
that's the most important question, right? Yeah. Because then you would have to relabel everything, and then you're starting all over.
Yeah. No, and the cost of shipping, honestly, is just scaring and we're just trying to. In fact, we put a deposit in on another product. So I've got 6. In fact, I'm really nervous because I haven't launched a product now for 1.5 years, and I'm launching 5 next week. And I'm really scared. So anyone else who's, goes, oh my God, I'm shit scared. Really, I am.
So here's the thing about launches now. And I'm going to share this on YouTube. So I might cut some of this out because there's stuff.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. We don't share certain things outside the inner circle. We have inner circle only software, and we have inner circle only techniques. But I do have the launch workshop in Vegas on the 13th, and then that's going to be shared. There's the only difference, so the numbers need to be the same. The only difference is you have your chatbots that are still up and working and can still work. We're moving in a direction of web-based chatbots. But if you hit the same numbers even that we were teaching 6 months ago, it's still going to be fine. So the launch numbers and Amazon's algorithm haven't changed. The only thing that's changed that is really surprising that we've talked about is how I'll have something for you separate of this call. We can discuss it.
Lovely. Right. But seriously, people out there, if I'm really scared, and I've done this, so many times, it is overwhelming. But the other thing I've done actually over the year, I think I'm very much a big picture person, and I'm not very good with the details. So when my husband joined me, who's an engineer and a project manager, he was like, oh my God, where are the processes? I'm like, and he goes, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. So he's made me put everything down on ClickUp. And all my VAs and all of us, we've gone through the whole process on ClickUp. And that has been, for me, phenomenally hard, but very, very good.
Yeah. And so it's funny that you have a team like that, because I have a team like that. I am the big picture person. Jennifer is the processes person. It's the reason that she oversees and runs our team and has driven out a lot of the processes and everything. I've heard great things about ClickUp too. And Sarah loves processes, so she's over there cheering because that's her favorite as a project manager.
Oh, you see, Sarah, it's hell for me. It's hell for me, but I understand.
We're not built like that, Debbie. We're just not built like that.
But we need it, you see, and so it's really, really important. And actually, at the beginning of the year, somebody said, "What's your word this year?" We have a word, and I thought about it. And I thought order. My word this year is order. I need to get order into all of this, and it's not native to me at all.
But you know what it always is, no matter what, is just organized chaos.
Yes, but I'm actually also over organized chaos, Brandon, because the magic is also I am the stumbling block for everybody. I want to now be removed from all the processes. I don't want to be there anymore.
Phenomenal. And that's what happens when you get to that level where you start scaling and you're building the team around you, is that you're now working on your business instead of in your business. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah, it takes a long time. It's there's so many things demanding your time. And I think the other thing is, if I have any advice to anybody, is start getting someone to help you early on. Just take some of the day-to-day stuff off so that you can actually start growing and put your systems in place. And because otherwise, if you're caught up in the day-to-day, you can't. Urgent happens every day in Amazon, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, absolutely. So I love the process. I hope that we get to revisit again in a year and you're talking about your second exit.
I've only got one more brand in me, Brandon. I've only got one more brand in me. Breathing.
Well, let's
life
make
into
this
a
one a
brand.
really big one then. And and we'll talk about the next exit in the next call. Or we'll check back in with you in the midway point as you're launching your next 5 or next 10 SKUs.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see what happens. And as I said, it is what it is. And I said, whatever happens. I'm not gonna put my happiness or anything on it. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in a position now where I have the money behind me to do this, which is brilliant. And I never thought this would happen. 5 years ago when I set those goals, as I said, we were on the bones of our bum, almost lost everything. And now I have my house on the beach, and I don't need much more. I don't need all the trappings, and it's just. And I think one of the other big things, actually, Brandon, because I know we're running out of time, but my kids have watched me through this, and it's not been easy. But I think I've given them such a sense of resilience, and you set goals and you make stuff happen. So probably from the whole journey, this is probably the most important things that I can pass these. You can talk about stuff, but actions talk so much louder than words, don't they? And they've seen this. And, kids in resilience nowadays, they've seen it, and they've seen, if mum can do this, what can I do? And also inspiring people around you, other friends around you as well. That to me is gold.
You're making me tear up, because as you're saying that, I'm thinking about my experience growing up, and you're absolutely right, 100%. Watching my father run his business growing up was one of the most influential things that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And he ran it out of the house for the majority of it. Like, started it up himself as a solopreneur, eventually hiring drivers and salespeople, and they would come to our house in the morning, but I would see him sitting at the table working every single day and working hard and running his own business. And probably the most important thing that he instilled in me was that hard work and work ethic, and seeing what you can do when you put your head down and you work hard for yourself. So
exactly.
That
and back
definitely
yourself.
resonates with me.
Yeah. No, and it's back yourself. And the other thing is be kind to yourself.
Thank you so much, Debbie. This was amazing. And you were worried coming in that you weren't going to share. You're always so humble, and don't even understand the amount of gold that you drop, and how much this means to people that are listening, that are starting the journey or in the middle of the journey or experiencing something. This is not an easy business. And thank you for sharing your story, your success, your ups and downs. And I'm so happy to have you as part of the group. Thank you so much.
And thank you. The group has been marvelous, and being held by the group, knowing that whatever question there is, there's so many people I want to thank, but I don't want to thank individuals, because someone might be there. But there's so many people who've helped emotionally with technical questions, with just I'm having a really bad hair day, I need to download. So thank you to you know who you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And please stay on.
Okay.
All right.